Stand up! Vanguard!
What's up, Cardfighters? Ryan here from Vanguard Central, bringing you guys an updated Jewel Knight Stride deck profile. This is actually going to be consisting of the new cards Evangeline and Christine from the new Fighters Collection 2015 Winter. It just came out the past weekend, so let's go ahead and get to it, guys. Starting off with our grade 3s, we are running 4 copies of Broken Heart Jewel Knight Ashley Reverse. Ashley Reverse has been pretty known to be the best, one of the best grade 3s for Royal Paladin at the moment. Just because of her ability to consistently fill field at a low cost, even early in the game, and also because you have Limerick Enabler and Sword Me, and also retire units in the front row, which Royal Paladin doesn't really have much of aside from Blaster Blade. And the fact that she's also a cross ride really helps. And next we got 4 copies of Pure Heart Jewel Knight Ashley. So Ashley is the regular break ride for Royal Paladin. It's very simple, gives plus 10k in crit when you break right over it, which people really kind of undermine because they say, oh, it's only plus 10k in crit, like perfect card, but it's like, that's you dropping a perfect card for it. And it's not really what the break ride can do, it's what the cross ride Ashley can do. It's because of the defense setup, basically, which Royal Paladin kind of needs. But I like having the crossride in this deck. It's kind of like an Ashley engine since we are running Banning Jewel Knight Miranda. But that's why I play just 8 copies of Ashley. And setting up the crossride is pretty easy in this deck thanks to Christine. And so other grade 3s you can run are also Leading Jewel Knight Salome and Prevail Jewel Knight Evane. The reason why I don't play Salome is because this, like I said, is a Ashley engine. And I feel like the crossride is just better in general, over the fact that you can get a nice 20k swing, or not 20k, sorry, 17k swing at their 9k Vanguard with the crit. Just because of the Limit Break Enabler and what Sword Me can enable you can do. Because getting the field requirement and Limit Break for Salome is really not hard. And the only problem is that she is a 10k base, so I don't really like that. But also, like I said, this is pretty much an Ashley build, and that's why I don't run Salome. And then, so you can also run Evane, which is the Legion pair for Sword Me. I don't really like Evane just because you have to Legion back with Sword Me, and so in a sense you kind of lose one of the best cards in the deck, which I don't really like. A lot of people think that you can like, oh, send it back with Legion and then just when it's dead, but then you still, I don't know, I just don't really like it, because if you don't have it in the drop zone, then you take one out of the deck, which is not really what you want to do. You want Sword Me's to be able to call them. And it's good against Link Joker, I guess, but then again, you won't be able to fill the requirement for the 6 units if you're playing against Link Joker, so it'd be a dead Legion, so that's why I don't play it. Moving on to our grade 2s, we are running 4 copies of the best card in the game right now, Jewel Knight Sword Me. Sword Me is ridiculous, where it can enable you to just basically fill your field for free at the cost of 1 counterblast. It's been known to be mixing with many decks such as Sanctuary Guard and Think Saber. But since this is a pure Jewel Knight deck, this is what makes Sword Me basically 100% consistent. And next we got 3 copies of Banning Jewel Knight Miranda. Miranda is amazing in this deck. I actually had it at 4 before, but since this is a Stride deck, I kind of dropped one so I can add another Break Ride Ashley. So, because I was running it at actually 12 grade 2s before and 7 grade 3s. But we play Mirandas in this deck because this, like I said, this is an Ashley engine. And the fact that she can swing for 11 without having a field requirement, unlike Tracy, the 12k hitter, is just amazing. And she also has an amazing second skill where if it hits, you can choose another Royal Paladin and gets plus 3k. So you basically make Miranda super ridiculous numbers with Cymbeline, which is a grade 1 that I want to talk about pretty soon, and also the Stride Evangeline. And so it basically makes a lot of magic numbers. Your 18 commons become 21, your 19s become 22, your 35s become 38. It's just, it puts you over the numbers where you want to be, which I find that Miranda is kind of like underwhelming, which is weird because she's like $1, and so I went ahead and got the SPs because they're beautiful. And so, like I said, I feel like she's a great card just because she can swing for 11 on her own. And then next we are running 2 copies of Fellowship Jewel Knight Tracy. Tracy is a 12k hitter, as I mentioned, where she does have a field requirement. You need to have 3 other Jewel Knights on the board. Which is not bad at all, because I like opening up with Tracy where you can swing at 19k columns to their like opponent's pesky 9k rear guard. So, and it's a good rush card, because if you open with this Sword Me and any other grade 2, then you can go ahead and play a combo by riding the grade 2, calling Tracy, and Sword Meing into Limerick Enabler to make a nice 19k column on one side. and that's one of the favorite things to do in my deck. And next we got 2 copies of Blowing Jewel Knight Alt Garo. Alt Garo is also another undervalued card that I don't think a lot of people take into account. I feel like most builds now are playing it because of the on hit, but they play it at, like, weird. They play like 4 copies or 3 copies, which I think is like a little too much, because how many times do you think Alt Garo is going to hit? Getting it off once is really the best, because that's where you're going to want to be getting it off, you know, just at your grade 2, honestly, just because that's the most consistent time he's going to hit. Because if you open with him, any other grade 2, and a Sword Me, because Sword Me is pretty much what makes the deck rolling, and once you get rolling, it's just ridiculously strong. You go ahead and you ride the grade 2, call Alt Garo to rear, call Sword Me, and you go Cymbeline, which is gives plus 10k to Alt Garo, making 19k against their 9k Vanguard, or against their 7k Vanguard, whichever, if they're at 1 or 2. And so it's kind of like a guaranteed hit, otherwise they have to drop 15k shield. And if they're dropping 15k shield, then that means he's probably going to hit the next turn because they don't have any more guard left. Or they swing at him, but you just basically guard against them. But Alt Garo is kind of like the really good version of Sword Me that people kind of undervalue, because Sword Me is kind of like a one-time use you on play, whereas him, it kind of requires a little bit more thinking, where you have to set up a nice combo, and you can get it on hit and potentially set up a whole new column with it because of Christine, which is the new Jewel Knight that came out in Fighters Collection also. And so I like playing Alt Garo at 2, just because if the combo is there and I'm able to use it, then I will, but if not, it's not really a big deal. It doesn't affect me in any way, so that's why I keep it at 2. Moving on to our grade 1s, we are running 4 copies of Flashing Jewel Knight Isolt. Isolt is the standard perfect card for Jewel Knights. The reason why we're playing it is not only for the name, is to also protect ourselves from Laurel and the Cross, which we don't really see at our locals much, but it's still a good idea just to be able to have that advantage over other decks that can swing at rear guards where the new unflipping perfect guards can't protect you. And also, it's a Jewel Knight name. This is a pure Jewel Knight deck. And next we got 4 copies of Cymbeline, Hate-Wing Jewel Knight Cymbeline. Cymbeline is the best card in my opinion in this deck, aside from Sword Me, because there's so many ridiculous combos that you can do with Cymbeline, where you can give plus 10,000 to basically in a whole other column. Because we do play a starter that does go away, it goes into the soul, which is Tiffany, and so having maxing the Cymbelines makes it live most of the time, because you'll have so many. You can play, like, you can have a play like I said with Alt Garo, you can make a play with the Miranda, you just make really big columns with Evangeline, and Cymbeline usually is going to want to be placed behind Vanguard Circle so that you can give either column the plus 10k and still have a booster. Otherwise, if you have to call it to one side, you give the plus 10k to the other side, so you can make the column just ridiculously strong. And that's why I like playing 4. And next we got 2 copies of Calling Jewel Knight Christine. She's the new card from Fighters Collection. I kind of grew to like this card. In place before the set, I was actually playing Laurel Knight Sichilus, which is the Stride Fodder. And since this is now pure Jewel Knights, there were times where I was playing beforehand where my first damage would end up being him, and this was just super unlucky because my Sword Me wasn't able to be live at that point, which kind of set me back. And so I kind of like Christine because not only does she help you fix your cross ride, she can also enable fourth column attack. Because like I said with the Alt Garo combo, if you're able to get his hit off with the Sword Me attacking first, and then you attack with this column, swing for, what, 19 against their 9k, maybe they don't guard it, you Soul Blast one, call Christine, reveal the grade 3 card that you have in your hand that you're planning to ride the next turn, you can get a fresh column right there, 18. So you can make a nice 4.4 attack play turn 2, which is amazing. And not only that, you can also set up a cross ride. The only reason why I play 2 and not 4 is because of her cost. You would have to reveal another grade 3. So if you play it after you ride grade 3 and you don't have another grade 3 in hand, then it's a dead card. And I don't see why you would want to run 4, because it also is counterblast issue. And it's kind of like, you need 3 other Jewel Knights, you need to counterblast 1, and you also have to reveal a grade 3, which is a kind of a big cost for making an ATK column. And the fact that you have to discard it kind of is whatever, but it's a great card, but it's not really the best card. And next we are running 2 copies of Stinging Jewel Knight Shelly, the 10k hitter for Jewel Knights. 10k hitters are really good in any deck that can power up your rear guards, because if it can get over 11k, then it's magic. Because on the first point, Evangeline Stride, even if you have a, basic 7k boost right behind it, it gets plus 6k, so the column will swing for 23 if you have the full field, because you need a full field anyways for Evangeline. And then for the final stride with Evangeline, you do get plus 9k for everything, and so it makes your 17k, so plus 9 here, 16, your column becomes a 19, so it swings for a nice 35k. Before triggers, before symboling, anything. So it's just, you make really fat numbers with the 10k hitter. And I like running at 2 because if you open with it, you can get an extra attack if you really wanted to. As long as you have Sword Me, because like I said, Sword Me really gets you rolling in this deck. And next we got 2 copies of Jewel Knight Saber Me, the Limit Break Enabler. We do play 2 copies of it because it makes Ashley live at all points in the game, both the reverse and the break ride, which I think is amazing because you can literally start retiring units at the cost of 1 counterblast or 2, or you can break ride right away if you are able to set up a Christine combo and set up your cross ride, which I think is amazing. Moving on to our triggers, we are running 10 crit. It's a very aggressive build, and 4 of them are going to be Bartram, who is actually my favorite card in this deck aside from symboling, just because when you call it with Sword Me or Alcar or anything that gets it from the deck and not from your hand, it pluses you a card. And I know you're thinking like, oh, but you're taking crits out of your deck, why would you want to do that? It goes back into the deck, and you drive check it when you actually need it most. So it's kind of like a late game thing. So a lot of people think like, oh, he's taking crits out of his deck, this guy's an idiot. But actually, it's kind of a smart play just because you get the crits when you need it later. When Evangeline swings for, 49, your rear guards are 41k and 41k. And it's like, who's laughing now when you get crit sacked by a 51k rear guard? So Bartram is amazing because you draw first, you deck thin, and you send the trigger back, rather than having to send it back and then draw, having a chance of getting them again. And then we got 2 draws. I like running draws because defensively they're amazing. Because if you hit the damage trigger and you hit a draw trigger, then you get an extra card in your hand to guard with, and also you get plus 5k shield. So that's why I run 2 draws. Because it's still, I didn't want to do like 8-4 because I didn't want too many draws because I want to go really aggressive, but I found like 10-2 is like perfect. And then we got 4 heals. I don't run Poly because I don't really like the art. I like the cat, it's cool. Moving on to our starter, we are running Dreaming Jewel Knight Tiffany. So like I said, Tiffany does go away in the soul, opens up plays for the symboling, and the fact that it's like the best pusher for Jewel Knights, I think it's the best starter. Another good starter you can run is Lysgol, which is this dude. But I don't really like him anymore just because you have to superior call in order to get his effect off. Where it pushes like good numbers but not as good as Tiffany, where you can literally go for game with Tiffany. And I've done so many plays where I put him in a soul, plus 6k to a column, or 3k here, you can make 18s or 21 lanes. And so that's why I play Tiffany. And the fact that she does open a spot on the board is the best thing about her. And moving on to our G-Zone, we are running 4 copies of Climax Jewel Knight Lord Evangeline. Evangeline is what we've all been waiting for. She's our Lord and Savior. She makes ridiculous numbers in this deck because the first stride, you get plus 6k to the columns, which is amazing. And the final turn stride, basically, when you have 3 face up in the G-Zone, gives plus 9k to everything. So plus 18. So if you're looking at a Miranda column, for example, since Miranda is 11, and you have a 7k booster right behind it, that's 18 plus another 18, that's 36k. Before triggers, before symboling, and that's really numbers that you have to be worried about in this deck. And imagine having crits on that, like, you're gonna have to guard. If you're put at 5 against this deck, good luck. You'd have to queue at some point because I'm not sure how you're going to guard it all unless you have like 3 perfect guards in hand. And so there's a lot of ways you can play Evangeline where you can do the first stride. Ideally, you have to unflip the first copy, and then this copy goes back at end of turn. You stride another one, you unflip anything else, so you get plus 6k to everybody, so it's plus 12 each column. And then this goes back, you stride the last Evangeline and unflip anything else again. Then you get the plus 9k, which I feel like is kind of slow. I don't see why you would want to be stalling out your Evangelines when the second stride can literally win you the game. I've come into so many situations where you just go ahead and stride the second Evangeline and unflip the last copy and get plus 9k when they're at 5 damage and they have like 6 cards in hand. So it's not really smart to do it the other way, but you can if you really want to. And next we got 2 copies of Holy Dragon Saint Blow Dragon. Saint Blow is a staple in any Royal Paladin deck, I believe, just because it's anti-link joker, anti-field control, anything, and the fact that you can swing with crit is just amazing. So you have like 2 finishers. You can either use Evangeline as a main finisher or Saint Blow, because if they are able to live through Evangeline, then they're not going to have the perfect guard for Saint Blow, and vice versa. If you second stride Saint Blow, then they drop the perfect guard for that, and you go ahead and finish them off with Evangeline. So I feel like both are just amazing. We are running 1 copy of Divine Knight of Flashing Flame Samuel. Samuel is the funniest card, I think, and he actually wins you games just because you can push them to higher damage to where they're going to be. Like say if they're at 4 or even if they're at 3 and they are planning to take the stride attack, then they won't be able to guard it. And if you get 1 crit, then you basically win. And pushing them to 5 is even better because you're able to basically make them guard. They're not able to take that last attack because they're already pushed to 5. And for our last copy of Strides, we are running Shrouded Divine Knight Gabblade. Gabblade is there because, you know, sometimes you never get the pieces you want. If you're able to stride, you go into Gabblade first because you don't have a sword meet, you don't have a board. You can go ahead and swing with this for a nice pressure. If they perfect guard it, it's one less perfect guard that they have, but if not, then you get to go ahead and fill your board, set up your Evangeline plays, and get sword me out. Another card that you can also run is Aerial Divine Knight Ultimile. I really love Ultimile because he grabs grade 2 on the second stride, but there's just kind of no room for him anymore, which makes me sad because he's my favorite stride, aside from Evangeline. Because I'd rather have the versatility rather than 2 Ultimiles. Because in that sense, if you don't have a board, then you don't have the first stride. Where you'd have to, like, I don't know. Because my ideal thing is you don't need Ultimile because you have Ashy Reverse and you have Limit Break. So you can basically fill your board with that rather than having to ditch the stride Ultimile. Which I guess is like, it doesn't cost you much, but I don't know. It's kind of like a preference thing. You can test it out. But I pretty much like the way the deck is now. So that's pretty much the deck profile, guys. Let us know what you think down below. Please give us a thumbs up. It helps out a lot. This is my main clan. This is my favorite deck to play, and I hope you guys enjoy. So, yep, like I said, always, guys, thanks for watching. Like our videos, and subscribe if you guys want to see some more. Vanguard Central, out.